Gary, would you mind jumping in on a patient perspective here, especially as someone who has successfully lived without a flare up in years?
Yes. So first off, I just want to say how thrilled I am this evening. We're with two of my favorite doctors here,
Mhm.
Dr. Christopher Parker, Dr. Edwards. Combined, the two of them have, I think, over 70 years, of just working with gout. And so we are lucky to have the both of you this evening.
I'm
And
honored too. Dr. Edwards is one of my mentors. I echo that thrill.
yeah, I'm so excited. For myself, gout is is real, right? I experienced my first attack, and some of you might know this. In 1994, I was 24 years old. I was pretty young, right? Very active, and then just out of the blue, this tremendous pain came on. It was overwhelming. It happened, in the evening. Affected my ankle, and I went and tried to get some help right away. After speaking with my dad, I found out that gout actually runs in my family, and so I took that knowledge to my physician. But back then, he listened to me, but then kind of dismissed it. I was happy though that he dismissed it because, in my mind, when he said I didn't have gout, I was thrilled. I don't have gout. I'm way too young to have gout. Well, basically, I did have gout, and with time, that relief and that joy vanished because gout is what I've learned. It's intermittent. So even though I don't feel pain some days, the condition is with me forever. There's no cure for gout. It took about 16 years before I was able to receive a diagnosis. Many who are listening to this would probably identify with that experience. When you don't have a diagnosis, your option for managing gout is limited. And so for me, it became turning to over the counter options, specifically anti inflammatory medications that you can buy from any drugstore. And I started consuming candy when the flares would come. I was managing the symptom or the pain, but never the cause of gout. The problem never vanished. It actually became worse with time. If you let gout go unmanaged over years, it actually becomes a toll on your body, which it was with me. I developed profi, which basically, in layman's terms, they're knots, little crystals that start forming around the joints, and given enough time, they become bigger and bigger. And so some of you might notice some lumps, right? Maybe around the big toe, maybe around the elbow. You'll see it start forming. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's not. But when the tophus is there, it doesn't go away. It actually continues to grow. There's no way to manage this. There's no way to get rid of it. You can only manage the pain. Um, and so that was really debilitating. It affected me physically. Stephanie, it affected me mentally too. A lot of people don't realize that when you live with gout and you're suffering and you're living in pain, there's a certain stigma that comes with gout that I don't think any other disease has. And so it affected my mental stability. My mental health suffered a lot. Being young and suffering from uncontrolled gout. I mean, can you imagine? I should be active out there living the best life at 24, at 30. I didn't receive a diagnosis until I was 40 years old. I lost half of my 20s, all of my 30s, before I was able to receive that diagnosis. And so I would say that gout, if left unmanaged, is destructive. Don't be guided by feelings and how your body feels in the sense that you don't feel pain, you think you don't have gout. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. Even if you do not feel pain, if you have gout, it's there, my friend. If you're not pushing forward, it's pushing back on you. There's never a pause. In this game of life with gout, there's no pauses. I think the biggest thing I can put on the table right now as a patient living with gout is if you do not have a diagnosis and you think you have gout, please find your voice, find the courage, and go see a doctor. Once you see a doctor, that's only the first step. You need to push for a diagnosis. If you think that doctor is not understanding what you are experiencing, it's okay to seek a second opinion, right? It's okay to seek a second opinion. And don't beat yourself up if you have gout. It's not your fault. There are many reasons why people enter into the gout club, right? As I call it. But once you're in here, there's a lot of help. There's a lot of tools, as Chris would say, Dr. Parker would say, there's many tools in the toolbox.